Breaking news coming out of our nation's capital. Movement on the floor of the House of Commons. CBC's David Cochran is tracking that movement. What's happening, David?
Yeah, so Hannah, we can tell you that CBC News has learned from multiple sources that Green Member of Parliament Jenica Atwin, who represents the riding of Fredericton, is crossing the floor to join the governing Liberal caucus. We got wind of something happening earlier this morning, and there's an official announcement planned for later today in Fredericton, where Jenica Atwin will appear alongside Dominic LeBlanc, the Intergovernmental Affairs Minister for the federal government, to formally announce or publicly announce that she is in fact leaving the Green Party to join the governing Liberal caucus. Now, this is a significant setback for the Greens because they looked at Atwin's seat in Fredericton as a beachhead in Atlantic Canada. They had good results in the New Brunswick provincial election, winning 3 seats in that legislature. They formed the official opposition in Prince Edward Island, and were counting on growing from that base of support with Jenica Atwin's breakthrough in Fredericton in the last election. This now reduces the caucus from 3 seats down to 2. It reduces them to essentially a smaller cluster of ridings, the 2 only in the southern tip of Vancouver Island, as their Atlantic seat now leaves to join the governing Liberal caucus. So that's the breaking news that will become official later today, that the Greens lose one of their 3 MPs, Jenica Atwin, the MP for Fredericton, joining the Liberals. And so, Hannah, you know, this comes after some very public disagreements on social media between Jenica Atwin and the Green Party leader, Annamie Paul, in particular over the Israel-Palestinian conflict recently, where Ms. Atwin publicly criticized the Green Party leader's statements on calling for a de-escalation and firmly sided with the Palestinians, calling for an end to the forced evictions in places like the Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood of Jerusalem, and also, for example, calling for an end to apartheid. So there has been issues dividing the Green Party over the Israel-Palestinian conflict over the last several weeks that has ultimately led to the Green Party National Council even terminating the contract of one of Ms. Paul's senior advisors, who was seen as a source of division for his stridently pro-Israel stances that he took within the party. Now, we don't know if that is part of the official reason and explanation for Ms. Atwin's departure from the Green Party to the Liberal Party, but certainly it speaks to a federal political party where all is not well internally. There is disagreement, there is division, and today the caucus is divided by 1/3 as Jenica Atwin will leave to join the Liberal Party of Canada.
David, you mentioned the significance of this for the Green Party as they try to build in Atlantic Canada. What is the significance of this? How big a deal is it for the Liberal Party?
So it's a couple of things. Fredericton was a seat they held until Jenica Atwin defeated Matt DeCourcy, who is the Liberal MP there. He was one of the young up-and-coming members of Parliament for the Liberal government. Their majority in the last election was a majority that was lost on the margins. They lost about 6 seats, I believe, in Atlantic Canada. New Brunswick is the toughest province for the Liberals, historically in some cases. So getting Jenica Atwin to come and stacking whatever support she holds from the Green Party with the existing Liberal support gives them a chance to hold that seat outright in an election, which we do expect quite likely later this year, either in the late summer or in the early fall. So it certainly helps there. But broadly, on a more national picture, Suhana, sort of anything the Liberals can do to diminish the Greens, and certainly stealing one of their young up-and-coming members of Parliament is a diminishing move for the Green Party movement, helps them. Because if you look at the seats in places in the British Columbia Lower Mainland, on Vancouver Island, Liberal votes in seats that they used to hold but lost last time went down 6-8 percentage points in a lot of those seats, and you see the Green coming up 3 points, 5 points, 6 points, 8 points in the last election. So again, as I described it, as a majority lost on the margins, the Greens helped shave some of those margins away for the Liberals with a little bit of the surge that they had last time, getting their national vote total up to around 6 or 7 percentage points. It's not enough for them to do better than 3 seats, but it is enough to erode sort of that left flank of votes away from the Liberal Party of Canada. So it will be interesting to see what Atwin says in her explanation for leaving. We're told that this has been a conversation that's been going on for a couple of weeks now that has gotten to this point. But, you know, she's obviously very strong on issues of environment. The environment is one of the core issues that the Liberals are looking to run on in the next election. Luring someone away from the Green Party, you know, lends credibility to their argument that they are a credible party on this topic. And also, her husband, Chris Atwin, is a councillor with a First Nation in the Fredericton area. Reconciliation is obviously a core issue for the Liberals that the country has been grappling with over the last several weeks. Atwin brings that to the conversation too, given her family connections, her personal support for that particular issue. These will be the issues I think you'll see the Liberals try to put front and center in this argument on climate and reconciliation and their management of the economy throughout the pandemic. But, you know, here you are, an MP who has been an MP for less than 2 years, who's already decided they've had enough with the Greens, leaving to cross over as they go to a transition from Elizabeth May to Annamie Paul as a new leader. And Annamie Paul tries to establish herself as a credible alternative coming into the next election. Certainly, this presents a challenge, losing a young female MP and 1/3 of your entire caucus today.
We'll be watching for reaction. I know you will be as well. Thank you, David. CBC's David Cochran on this breaking news coming out of Ottawa.